Hey guys, so things are seriously getting serious. So today is the landmark day where they are closing pubs, clubs, restaurants, gyms, schools have already closed now for the day and will remain closed. We don't know how long for. Um, the world is in a state of panic and fear and anxiety, but I genuinely do think that this is also an opportunity for people to be showing humanity, for people to be showing that we can help one another, and that this entire period of isolation, self isolating, um, this time of great need in terms of the NHS and treatments and nurses and midwives and doctors, and this is a time where we all need to come together. My wife is a nurse, works for the NHS, and I could not be prouder. I genuinely couldn't, because she is now working on the front line against what is now a pandemic that has struck the fear of God into most of mankind. But I don't believe that this has to be a completely negative experience. In fact, I think it should be treated as the absolute polar opposite on a very very personal level. So if your children are at home with you because they're not able to be at school, and like myself, I'm unable to work any longer as a youth worker, so I'm having to take medical retirement, and as a product of that and the treatment that I'm now on, I've been pretty much already living in some form of isolation for months and months. And because of that, I'm already, I think, mentally well adjusted to the new lifestyle that a lot of people are now going to have to adopt for the first time ever in their lives. But being at home in the house doesn't always have to be something that people are being it's kind of striking real fear in people. You don't need to be afraid of being in your own home, when actually this is an opportunity to spend time with your children doing more wholesome activities. Take the time, do some baking, teach them a skill that they've never known or used before. You know, play proper board games with your kids rather than just letting them sit there on their tablet or their phone. Spend quality time with your kids. It shouldn't take a pandemic for that to be something so obvious needing to be said. It's something that I personally, I very much have always, well, been a fan of how family should work as a unit, in terms of company, in terms of manners, in terms of looking after each other's mental health. My children, they will be having to do school and college work from home. Exams have been cancelled. We don't really know what sort of boat that leaves us in for our eldest, but we'll do whatever we need to do as a family, and that will be fine. Everything will be okay. I think for the vast majority of people who are feeling very anxious about the current climate that we're living in, I know that there is always a rationale behind any form of anxiety. As somebody who lives being tortured by anxiety and PTSD and depression, I know that this will be a very difficult time for a lot of people, because it involves an awful lot of negatives and readjustments, which won't, for a lot of people, happen particularly quickly. But for myself, and for the sake of my family and our family's well-being and mental health, I haven't been able to book and pay for a holiday for us to go away at Easter. We would have gone abroad. Obviously, everything that's been happening over the last sort of couple of months meant that I didn't book that. So instead, I'm now sort of renaming Corona COVID-19. I'm renaming it, redefining it to us as a family as Project 20. And in that, painting children's bedrooms, smartening up anything that needs to be touched up. I'll be decorating, glossing, painting. I've already been building furniture this week. The kids are going to have the exact beautiful bedrooms that they really, really want. And, you know, the money that I would have spent on a holiday, I'm spending it on the house. I'm spending it on nice, enjoyable experiences for my family, and having a brand new bedroom, that is a positive for each of my two awesome children. So, you know, and then I've been looking, well, if I'm going to be improving the kids' bedrooms, then we need to be improving our bedroom, surely. So we've got a new bed that may or may not be being delivered. That'll have to just pan out however it will. But, you know, simple things of, you know, well, the hallway needed painting. That's already now been painted. I'm going to be painting all the bedrooms. I'm going to be doing things that normally are the kind of jobs that you put off, and you know, even simple things like yesterday I changed a fuse in something that I've just not been bothered about it working for however many weeks, because I think if this is a time where everybody else is panicking about having to start living indoors, I'm to start living in the same kind of way that I've already been living for quite a long time, since really sort of September last year. I'm going to make this the best experience for myself as possible, because becoming more anxious, becoming more depressed, becoming more isolated in terms of my mental health won't aid anything. Stress itself actually weakens the body's immune system. So I'm turning the world's biggest panic into a positive experience for myself. I'm doing everything that I can to keep myself clean, and in terms of washing my hands are actually getting pretty sore because I'm washing them so often. My wife's hands, with her being a nurse, God love her, her hands are in a mess. You know, it's our children have to wash their hands the minute they come through the front door. Shoes off, wash your hands. If a family member comes around, shoes off, wash your hands. Sensible measures. At this point in time, it's about sensible measures for us. Today is the last day that I will be leaving the house for 2 weeks. I'm back on treatment on Tuesday, and that will give me all the symptoms of flu. So I will have a temperature and all sorts of things happening next week. Anyway, I've got scheduled illness already happening next week. So I'm not going to allow myself to panic about catching what some people are describing as symptom-free. Other people are describing as it feels like the flu. Other people are describing as it's like a bad cold. Every single person on earth who ever catches any virus or infection will have their own personal experience with that. And by that, what I mean is something that may make one person feel certain symptoms, they may have very mild symptoms compared to another, whether that be a common cold or it be coronavirus. Obviously, people like myself who've got underlying conditions, then we are at greater risk. But that's when you just got to be sensible. I'm being sensible. I think this is possibly the first time in my life that I've actually been fairly sensible. But actually being sensible for me is just remain calm, make this a good situation instead of a terrifying situation, because the hysteria, all that does is breed more hysteria, and it doesn't get anybody anywhere. So if anybody ever needs to talk, if ever anybody needs to reach out, if ever anybody just wants to be able to message somebody who isn't being overtaken and wrapped up in the hysteria, then you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and I will continue with my videos. and that'll continue on through my treatment next week. And like I said, it's a landmark day, and I don't know if landmark's the right word for it, really. It's a day that'll go down in history. Everywhere's closing up its doors tonight. But if it's the right thing to do for the general public's health, then so be it. And I genuinely, I could not feel any more sorry for local business holders, owners, because this is people's livelihoods, and this is a time of crisis in terms of the economy and in terms of actual health. So I hope to find you all well, and I'll check back in with you tomorrow.